Hey everyone, and welcome to the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports Podcast. I'm your host, Josh. SalvationsElite. To my right is Bash_Bo3. And to our farthest right, per usual, is none other than Rex Shady Nero. And guys, we just got off a marathon of a weekend of the first major of the Call of Duty League. Today we're doing power rankings. We're talking over all the news of the week. Some hot, spicy GAs this week. Not as much drama as last week, but still a lot to talk about today. Before we get any of that, guys, I've got to ask, boys, what's going on?
Well, Josh, I am feeling like a goldfish who's just been bought from the pet store. And this kid is just shaking me around just yelling obscenities at me. And I'm like, what is going on? I don't want to be here.
Finding Nemo.
But the mom is like, hey, stop it, kid. We're releasing this fish because you're being bad. And so she takes me and releases me into the wide open ocean. And I don't know what's going on anymore. I am in this giant fishbowl. Yeah. And there's things all around me. And it's just mystifying, but so exciting at the same time.
Oh, man, I can only imagine how excited you are this weekend. Not only is it a little Rex Shady Nero birthday weekend, but you got an incredible birthday present.
Happy
Not only
birthday.
the merch, but you got the performance of the New York Subliners this weekend, top 3.
Yes.
Incredible.
And it was crazy. So, I mean, Sam, how are you doing? I don't think you could possibly be even half as good as Rex right now.
No, I'm probably like, I'm doing good, but that's probably still like a quarter of Rex. So.
Yeah. Because Rex is on the moon right
He's
now,
on
you
the
know.
moon.
I am flying.
Yeah.
Everyone was
Yeah.
talking mad trash about the subliners or Rex just overhypes the subliners. Blah, blah, blah. Dude, you see. I don't just come out of left field with these things.
We see.
I mean,
We do see.
it was impressive to say the least. So obviously we'll be getting to that though a little bit later in the show. But today, of course, you can listen to Apple Podcasts. You can listen on Spotify.
Yeah.
You can watch on YouTube. You can drop a comment on YouTube, and you can drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And today,
Do we have one?
we have one from Bobby Jones. And
Bobby
he says, Y, the letter Y. And he says, 5 stars. This podcast is the best. They have the smartest predictions that are never wrong. And you give the most informative, spicy takes on all the news. In parentheses, looks nervously at Mr. Shady Nero, who's holding me at gunpoint. Also, Rex is the main reason I watch the show. He brings the
that's
entertainment and the brains to the whole ordeal. Turns and smiles at Rex happily and then he gives me my one daily Cheerio. Great podcast. 5 stars.
In the world.
There we go.
When did Rex turn into a hostage taker? Oh my.
Thanks, Bobby Jones, for the 5-star review. Wow. So, I mean, there is a lot to get into today. We decided, it's going to be a long one. So, we decided no quick question today, which got Sam hyped, because he's just excited to get right into the predictions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we're going to go right in to the news today. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. The Call of Duty News of the Week. Oh, baby. Oh, my word. So a pretty interesting week again, like with the week and how it all ended up playing out just because of so much Call of Duty this weekend. First of all, I guess I was going to mention in the intro, but shout out everybody who's part of the Draft Buff, community royale.
Yes.
I would have liked to do a little bit better than I did last week, although I had a weird incident where I deleted a player out of my lineup and then I thought I put him back in, but somehow it didn't update and I closed my app and then I checked it right when the matches started and I didn't have a player in my lineup.
Ooh.
But I still finished top 200 because my team was sick.
Wow.
Yeah. Bruh, could you imagine if I actually had a 5th player in my lineup? I would have been unstoppable.
You would have been first.
First, I know.
Probably.
And but so shout out overall right now, the leader after a few weeks here is Nameless Wolf. He is currently leading with 3,127 points throughout the first stage of the CWL. Seatmar is in second, and Alexx Stengel is in third. We got Shiva, Strixie, Notorious Adri's team, all top 6 there. So shout out all of you guys. Shout out who's all dominating out there. And it's been a blast so far. Of course, like I said, no sponsor this week technically, but Draft Buff's been good to us. So shout out to Draft Buff.
Shout out Draft Buff.
Exactly. So it's been fun though. It's been a blast. And of course, Listener League, I took a fat L this week. I mean, I had Alexx. I didn't have like a really good substitute, and so that hurt me. But
yeah.
How are you guys doing in the Listener League?
1 and 2 are for me, man.
Oh, tough.
I have not been doing too good.
Tough.
I'm 2-1, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also 2-1. Imagine not being 2-1. That'd be embarrassing, to be honest. Wow. But yeah, it's been fun so far. So news of the week. That is why we're here. Basically, we can start with let's just start with the spice. Let's start with the spice, because at this point, that's why people are here.
And everything nice.
The GAs.
Yeah. Ooh.
As of today, folks.
Hot off the press.
Truly.
The XM4 is officially G8. And the EU Challenger scene immediately GA'd the QBZ as well. So teams want the Soul Krig AK-74U meta. Also, the 74U, the muzzle brake, and the compensator, so the muzzle attachments, were all GA'd as well. So
Isn't that just in the European scene, or is that
the pros,
Pro League,
the
everything?
pros?
Okay.
So those are the 2 new additions to the gentleman's agreements.
So no more muzzles.
No more muzzles on the 74U, and no more XM4 for ARs. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thoughts on this one, boys? What do you guys have with this, Sam?
Man, I didn't think. I kind of thought it might happen, but like, we played a major with it. It's like, it's working. People were still using Krigs in certain scenarios,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it's hard not to just think about like, it's getting kind of it's getting a bit much.
Yeah.
Especially not GAing any subs either. Like 74U is still like kind of like the do-it-all gun.
For sure.
I don't know, man. I get it, but at the same time,
that's tough.
I don't know.
Rex?
I mean, I never thought the XM4 was so like overpowered in it. I guess I probably understand the barrel on the 74U.
Yeah, it's
but
weird.
Yeah, it's like again, it's just like they're keep throwing these GAs in there where it's like I wish we'd more err on the side of like let's try not to GA things unless it really needs to be GA'd.
For
where
sure.
It feels like we're erring more on the side like if
GA.
it's questionable, GA it. Which like I get from the pro scene perspective kind of, but also spectator perspective. And I think at the league as a whole, you should be erring on the side of if it's questionable, just leave it be until it's like, I guess it's not. And maybe they think it's not questionable, but it feels like it is.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I'm definitely torn on it because I understand like the idea behind it, but at the same time, like I agree. Like we actually did have a 3-gun meta right now. I mean, it was the Krig was only basically used in Search and Destroy on Miami and Moscow, but I mean. And Checkmate, but it was used. I mean, I don't know. It feels like a major nerf to all flex players. So anyone who, like the Dashies of the world, the Awakenings of the world, it feels like a big nerf to those types of guys.
Yeah.
We saw Huke running it a lot. We saw Simp running it a lot.
Yeah. I think we're gonna see now 374Us.
You're gonna see 374Us.
One Krig.
I mean, we might even you might even see them not even using AR at all, like on really small maps.
On depending how you want to play Crossroads. On certain hills specifically, I think it's very possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
the Krig is so slow. Like, how are you supposed to, like, if you get into, like, this crazy, like, because the XM4 at least, and part of the reason I guess it was banned was, like, such a multi-use gun where it's, like, you could get out of, like, a stickier situation if it's 74U is coming out at you. With a Krig, your chances of getting out are a lot less now.
Yeah.
So it's
tough.
AR's gonna be real smart.
Analytically, I mean, I saw a few of the analytics guys, like Carson, like posted about like how like current AR KDs versus past games, it was actually lower already than it was in previous titles. So he was like, I don't exactly understand. He didn't think it was a worthy GA. And how do you feel like this is going to affect teams? Like, do you think this actually hurts specific teams more than others as a whole? I mean, it definitely shifts the meta towards a more SMG favored meta.
Absolutely. Yeah, like
for sure.
I'm sure FaZe you're going to see similar results. I mean, you got guys that can run SMG. What you're gonna have Celium run? No, yeah, no. RC's run
74U.
Craig. Celium will
Probably run
you.
at 74U. Yeah.
Craig, maybe they may think about doing it
S&Ds.
too. Yeah, S&Ds. Man, yeah, I don't know. Like we could see a pretty big shift. Like with some teams might just
Like this feels like it
perform
hurts.
better.
This hurts New York. I
Yeah.
mean, teams that have like two
Yeah.
preferred heavily ARs. You know, you like Diamond Con was like, you want to have multiple ARs if you're New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, they were running 3 XM4s. Mac had the XM4 out half the time. So it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, like I know we saw a lot of pros. I mean, RCDs, I saw in like I Hold Shift chat at one point, RC was talking about like the XM4 and how, you know, SMGs can pick it up and they have no problem using the XM4. And like that's an issue. If you're like you're like literally, I mean, you saw every single point. If SMG ran over an XM4, they picked it up because there was a gunfight that they were about to have that would probably be more beneficial to have the XM4 than the 74U.
Yeah,
like a middle range gunfight like that. And I think it definitely favors the kind of the perennially great teams. I mean, it favors FaZe and Empire. It feels like it probably favors
Optic.
100T as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it definitely favors 100 Thieves.
Probably favors Minnesota Rocker having multiple SMGs. I mean, it's a little bit weird with how Major Maniac wants to play, I guess, but you know that's also interesting as well. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, New York. It honestly feels like New York really got hit with this the hardest. To be honest,
New York and probably Florida,
which is probably why you saw Clayster be very vocal about that. He was very upset on Twitter.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I hope it wasn't because, like, I mean, I'm just going conspiracy theorist mode right now, but, like, no one really was seeing New York do what they did here at the major. And when they saw it happen, like, well, clearly something's broken in the game other than the team was actually playing well. So, like, I hope that's not what happened here.
Rex is putting on
Because
his
it
tinfoil hat.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of my tinfoil hat I'm putting on it, but it's like, it's real weird that, like, this happens right after the major. Like, if everything went to exactly as planned, per se, where it's like Optic is in there, Empire, FaZe, and then, you know, throw in a Mutineers or a Rocker, like people who are more like, quote unquote, like popular, like, I wonder if anything would have changed.
I mean, Awakening uses the XM4, Celium uses the XM4, Diamond Con uses the XM4.
Yeah, but Diamond Con is definitely hit with this hard.
You can definitely go tin hat real quick here.
Mm-hmm.
And then Clay as well was like, as we can see, Clay has been popping off.
Oh yeah,
And everyone underrates Clay all the time, like acting like he can't shoot and it's just his team who does everything. But he's kind of proven so far this year that he can shoot back and he can be a top slayer for his team even.
Right.
And people, I hope, you know, again, tinfoil hat here. I hope people aren't seeing that and be like, oh, clearly something's wrong if Clay is doing well. And
I mean,
like,
this undoubtedly hurts New York the most. For sure.
And it's just like kind of like, what the hell? But,
yeah,
you know, that's tinfoil hat. I'm going to take it off now. I mean, it could end up being the right play. Like, maybe overall in the league, it's going to, like, this will make things play better.
Right.
I like the barrel GA, honestly, on that 74U. But I don't know. I hope it doesn't do something weird.
The XM4 wasn't like a normal main AR weapon, but neither was the M4 last year. So that's weird because like normally you got the main AR weapons, the ICR, the slow shooting beamer, which is what the Krig is.
Yeah.
So like the Krig is the more traditional, you know, main AR weapon. But generally, when you have that really traditional main AR weapon, you've got the Maddox or you've got you know something like the K-bar to go along with
in between mode with it.
The in-between
like
gun.
Something in between.
So unless that in-between gun exists right now, and we're not exactly sure which gun that is, and if there's not one that pops up, it feels like a pretty weird move to me.
Yeah.
The Farah, like the
the
DLC
FFAR
gun.
That thing was nasty.
So like
that felt better than the XM4. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so maybe that's the case, but it seems pretty unlikely to me at this point. But I would imagine we're going to see some pro teams experimenting with it with different random guns this week in scrims probably. Again, I guess from my perspective is like GAs. It's tough because you want to have GAs that I mean like you want the rule set to unite the competitive CoD and like when no matter where you're playing competitive CoD, you have a very similar experience. But like right now, it's like pubs is different from from league play. League play is different from what the AMs play. What the AMs play is different from what the pros play. Like, oh my goodness, like it gets really, really tough, really, really quick to decide like how that plays out, and that's where I get really frustrated. And I would love to have like an open discussion. That's why I tweeted about like with the devs, the owners, the players, the fans about like how can we deal with gentlemen's agreements, and like is there some sort of middle ground with the devs, the CDL, and with the fans? Because I mean, either
the players making all those decisions is not fair, because the players clearly like
there is some sort of bias at some point.
Everybody wants their team to be the better team, so GAs are never going to be fair. It's just like whatever team feels like is the best choice for their team is what they're going to make happen. And as long as the majority of people feel like it's going to be best for their team, that's what happens. I mean, that's not exactly always fair. Right. If you're not the popular team, it's like you just get screwed out of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be at least a slight bias. I mean, I do think that, like, for the most part, Slasher has, like, decent intentions. Or, like, those guys have, like, decent intentions. Like, they're just trying to make a fair, balanced game. But, again, that's from their perspective, and that can have biases inherently, right?
Inherently, it's going to be a bias. Like, because at the end of the day, you're going to do what's going to benefit your team the most.
Right.
Like,
if it's like a 55-45 choice, you're going to choose the one that, even if it's the 45, that it benefits your team specifically more.
Yeah,
exactly. So like, there needs to be a person in that middling area who's not part of any team, who has no, is an outside perspective that can give something. The CoD League
sits on the sideline, like they don't even partake in this conversation at all,
because they don't know the intricacies like the pros do, and that's where we have a problem.
Yeah,
honestly,
I agree.
You get a guy like Alexx in. Alexx could have a pretty good say in this whole situation.
I know. That's what's weird. It's like there needs to be some sort of...
If he wasn't playing challengers. Like, that's the thing.
There needs to be some sort of middle ground, I agree, but like, what do you do? Because I mean, at the end of the day, the CDL needs to at some point implement the GAs and rules that the pros put in. I mean, like, otherwise we're still playing league play with overkill and like all this crap that then the devs have to actually implement the rule set that the CDL puts in. So we're like 2 steps down the ladder here.
I know.
3 steps down the ladder.
Yeah.
GAs have to we have to be moving away from GAs, not moving deeper into them.
Yeah, because you literally have to do like periods of like you can even doing it with like the stages, like stage 1, okay, get together.
No changes during this time.
No changes during this time. Stage 2, hey, week prior to starting, hey, do you want to change anything? You change it within this 3-day period. After the 3-day period, we're not doing any more changes.
That's true. So maybe if it was scheduled in, and like this was like a conversation that they had with the CDL, and then the CDL would know, like, hey, Activision, these are the days when we'll be changing the rule set.
Exactly.
At least that would maybe help streamline the process a little bit. Like, but then like it does make sense that the pros would change it after the stage 1 if they were to change it.
Yes.
But like that just needs to be like publicly like announced. Like, all right, we might be considering a rule set change here, or like a GA change.
Yeah,
like this is when it's gonna happen.
Exactly. Like I do kind of think this was scheduled to happen once.
At least like, inside the pros' heads, it was
inside the pros' heads, and it's like I assume everyone knew prior to Major 1 that this was gonna happen. That's my tinfoil hat, Rex.
Right.
But yeah, no, like you're right. Like we can't do GAs anymore. Like it needs to be
they need to be the rule set.
Once every month or 2 months, we come together, or the pros come together, discuss it, do a rule set change, and then no more. Like there's no more GAs.
Right, that's the thing. You just can't call it GAs.
No.
Like that's the ironic thing is like the CDL just says don't say the word GAs.
Yeah.
But like that's just like a band-aid on like a literally a sword wound to the chest.
Yeah, like it needs to be scheduled, and it needs to be everyone coming together and willing to change.
Like, bruh,
if anything,
you're literally getting battered with like a mace, and you're putting a
band-aid
band-aid on it.
Exactly.
There needs to be an open environment for it. Like there needs to be like some transparency with them, instead of like we're just getting this random announcement like XM4 is officially J. It's like
because like.
What?
Okay,
yeah, like if you're an AM, you're building your team around these things, then suddenly they just get removed, and now you're like, what?
Exactly.
You honestly need people like Alexx, Karma,
TP.
I mean, those are the
Merc.
TP. Yeah, well, they're kind of playing Warzone right now, so like kind of don't count.
Yeah, but they kind of know the meta and stuff, and they know all the
meta.
pros.
So like people who like actually care about the game and they don't really play favorites. Karma's on Optic, and like you can say he favorites Optic, but I think Karma is really honest about things. Like
Yeah,
you can
for
be
sure.
like, oh man, you guys definitely just got favorited because they have an XM4 GA. You lucked out with that one. You know?
Yeah. Oh,
Like
for
he'll
sure.
call it like it is. And so like it's one of those things like people like that who are into the game can explore the game and understand what actually needs to be GA'd or not,
Yeah.
and doing it in a fair
and then
fashion.
communicating it with the public because
Yeah.
bruh,
We need a Supreme Court of.
literally
We need like an SMG AR flex player.
unconstitutional. Hear ye?
You need at least like 5 players who like
Yeah.
everyone can trust and respect
Literally.
to make
Yeah.
honest decisions, not based off friendships, not based off teams,
Mhm.
just based off the love of the COD game and spectator perspective.
Yeah, it's
and
just
the
crazy.
love of the league. That's all it has to be that.
100%. Well, we're probably spinning wheels at this point, but
Probably,
I
yeah.
mean we had to
It's
talk about that
frustrating.
because it's like that's massive news for the meta versus what we've seen in the past. So, absolutely insane. So, let's talk a little bit of the other CDL news stuff right here. So, obviously, officially, Hydra's on the way. Hydra's
Yes.
arrived. He is here. New York finished top 3. We can probably talk about that right now
Do we
when it
wanna
comes
talk
like
about
the
this
team. I mean,
Okay.
we'll just talk about it real quick. I mean, there's no chance Hydra gets subbed in anytime soon, right?
No,
I mean,
the
at the
minute
end
they
of the
made
day-
top 6, they were safe.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, what would it take at this point, for Hydra to get subbed in?
This new meta change.
I mean, honestly, though,
Yeah. If we see
They're going
Mac
to
or
play the new
Diamond
meta first.
maybe
I mean, I
Hydra's the
honestly
one
feel
pulling the
like-
strings.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like people were playing for their jobs here on the subliners, and they did exactly what they needed to do to keep their jobs. So, like, to take it away would be just unfair.
I would have said before that a sim would have been the quote-unquote most likely to
Not anymore.
be removed, but definitely not anymore. It's Diamond Con for sure now.
It's now with XM4 out, yeah.
It's
for
100%
sure.
Diamond Con now. So if Diamond doesn't perform well under this new meta, I honestly think it's not the craziest thing ever that Diamond Con gets the boot.
I know. Which is crazy
Yeah.
because he's been performing well with XM4.
Yeah, he just had this. The last series was just really
Oh,
bad
yeah.
against Dallas,
Oh,
since
yeah.
everyone trashed him because he had like a 0.6 something
Yeah.
KD or whatever.
Yeah, but he's been solid throughout.
For sure, and
And
especially in
so
S&D
new.
up until that last series. But yeah, so that was kind of the interesting news, and again, that's really interesting now with the new meta for Hydra for sure. So let's see, any other CDL news there? Oh yeah, obviously CL broadcast now showing vetoes,
That was cool.
which is pretty dope. Thank goodness,
Dope. Love
much
that.
needed,
Good
much
job.
needed, and hopefully more of that because it was
Yeah.
always a little confusing. Like, okay, we're like trying to like witch doctor this. Like, all right, who like pin in the
I
needles,
know.
like trying to figure out who like
So much
GA'd or who
vetoed.
vetoed what. Like
so much ambiguity for like really no reason. It's
I
like,
know.
Yeah.
Why
Like,
not
dude,
just
then-
show it?
And then we might as well too. This is the quick tip, guys.
Yeah.
First map was picked by the team in white, and the second map was picked by the team in black.
yeah, because of how it works with like the sides, everyone chooses the same sides right now. So offense and defense, or what side you're spawning on, home away jerseys, bang,
Yeah.
easy dubs.
Nice.
Let's go, baby.
That's nice to know.
Things you love to see. And then, of course, stage 2 begins March 18th. So we got that's why today we have no predictions. The once every 4 weeks where we don't have predictions on the podcast.
Yes. Pretty crazy.
This is the chill episode.
Yeah.
For every other week, it feels like we're in a marathon,
I
like
know.
just a sprint, like really
Yeah.
100-meter sprint every week.
It'll for sure be nice to have like just a little bit of breathing room. It's like, okay,
Yeah, literally.
get our bearings.
Catch up on videos and go from there. But yeah, it's absolutely insane. So March 18th, shout out, boys. Shout out.
Nice.
And now let's talk some Challenger stuff. So
All right.
obviously, like we said, the EU, GA, the QBZ, straight up stuff. So obviously, other Roster Mania stuff. Zer0, interestingly enough, also kind of like that CDL link there. Zero's been changing teams a little bit here. Sam, thoughts?
Yeah. So I'm gonna pull this up just so I make sure I don't
Singularity, right?
butcher this. Yep. So Zer0 parted ways with Singularity. So Bids, Denza, and Maple, and then people did think originally he's gonna come back for London, and then he just straight up said, "No, I'm not coming back to the USA yet." So unfortunate. But so he'll be moving forward with
Good news for Parasite.
Afro, Gizmo, and Defrag. So that's his new team moving
Solid
forward.
squad.
Yeah, I was actually kind of hyped.
Afro is a sub for London Royal Ravens,
Yeah,
so
which
it
is
makes
cool.
sense. That's
I-
kind of like the obligation.
Yeah, I was kind of hyped for a little bit to see Zer0 back, but no.
That means
So-
we can see more Parasite,
Yes,
baby. Let's go.
Absolutely. So we'll see what that
Maybe.
team does anything. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean,
and-
London's had little practice, like
Oh,
they
and they
had
got-
a bunch of
that's the thing.
tough things going
Right.
on for them.
I guess, and now we're on the London topic. I
yeah,
mean, we may as well talk briefly about the Alexx situation.
yeah. So Alexx, as you all know, was not playing. Zed came in and
last second notice. Shane said they had 15 minutes to practice before their match.
Yeah.
They got one like map of scrims in.
Yeah.
Like, bruh.
Mm-hmm. So from Shane's mouth, Alexx has not been dropped. He's taken a step down to deal with things at home. He's essential to our lineup. Anyone who wants to talk down about that, then you need to take your head for a wobble, and we do not want you supporting us.
Take your head for a wobble.
Yeah. So I mean, hope everything works out with Alexx, and whatever it is. Hopefully, it's not too serious. It was just very unfortunate timing, obviously, and all this stuff. So.
I mean, bro, London can't catch a break.
No,
oh my word.
Terrible. So I feel for those guys. It sucks for them. And like the one thing, like, you don't want to start down because it's gonna be so hard to catch back up.
They're so screwed. Let's be honest.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna be last going into champs. So
I mean, like, at this point, they're not gonna have. I mean, that means we're not getting Zer0 back for at least a while.
Yeah.
And then Alexx, I mean, he has to go home. Then there's a quarantine period.
Yeah.
Then you have to come back, and there's a quarantine period.
Yeah.
So
who even knows?
We do see Zed in the league, right? And he's been doing. I mean, he made it into that elite series.
Oh,
His team did
to be
pretty
fair,
well.
London did take 2 maps off Toronto.
They did.
And I don't know if that's a bad sign for Toronto or a good sign for London.
Yeah.
But it was definitely maybe a little bit of both because that was a pretty ugly series from Toronto at points.
It was.
But I mean, to be fair, if you're Toronto, you're like, we're about to smoke these kids. And then like they come out and maybe actually put up more of a fight than you thought. And then you get, classic underdog, like underestimation scenario there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, as for London, I don't know. I mean, thoughts as a whole, I mean, London's in a pretty tough spot right now.
I know. I don't know. Yeah.
I guess we will talk more about them.
Yeah.
At the end of the pod or in our predictions.
Pretty much just very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. And to be fair, like I said, this looks like it's going to be Zed in the lineup for a while now. Mm-hmm. And at this point, we assume Parasite, but I mean, to be fair, that's not a guarantee yet because as far as we know, he signed a 2-week contract.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be coming up here. So we'll have to hear if he actually ends up back on the team officially here. Yeah, so that's that news. As for the challengers, other challengers news, we got the potential of John's new squad here with Zaptius. Thoughts on this?
Yeah, Nagafin and Fellow too. So
very fun squad.
There was a GB team snapshot that CDL Intel tweeted out. So that would be actually a pretty nasty team. Zaptius, of course, dropped from WestR.
That was the big news.
Huge news.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that yet.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, we had that on the dock originally.
Yeah. So WestR dropped Zaptius, which kind of weird considering they won the Elite Series Stage 1.
Yeah. And there was the whole WestR drama there. So Zaptius said he was the founder of WestR, and he wanted to take the branding with him.
Yeah.
But then like the branding stayed behind with the current team of 3.
Yeah.
And everyone, shout out all the folk who do work with WestR, Gersh and the squad.
Gersh.
And everyone else. But yeah, so that was a little wild with that and how that played out. And there's quite a bit of drama there. I mean, having a top team that we all thought was going to stick together the whole season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were dominant.
And this was the risk that we talked about with I Hold Shift, where it was like, well, if you don't win, you're betting on yourself big time here by not accepting any type of contract that comes your way or any offer that comes your way. Because the rumor was that Paul X was offered by London to join that squad.
Yeah.
And now you're sitting there and they thought that they were bulletproof. And now Zaptius drops out and we'll see what happens with WestR moving forward.
Well, then Zaptius actually got on another team with 3 other players who, I'm sorry, I don't remember the names. But then they must have scrimmed for a week and maybe they played in the Open or something.
Yeah, the Open.
And then I guess they lost. And then I guess he was dropped again or he chose to leave. And now he's on this new team who we haven't seen to play together yet. Fellow John and Nagafen, which this could be the nasty squad.
I mean, Zaptius has been straight up nasty the past, year. So pretty cool squad. I mean, I think a lot of people are going to want to watch that.
The
keep their
grudge
eyes on
match versus WestR and that squad would be
so sick.
Oh yeah, it'll be sick.
Good content right there.
I mean, you got 3 veterans and plus like a guy that's been in the scene for a while too, but like he's considered kind of a
good player.
Yeah, great player. So I mean, that's phenomenal team, honestly.
Yeah.
Hopefully they make some waves. We'll see in this upcoming Stage 2 Elite.
Literally. So, let's see here. I'm gonna get the sheet up here. Yeah, I mean that's basically it for all of our like newsy news of the week.
Kind of quiet.
Pretty quiet as a whole. I mean, we could talk a little bit more maybe next week about a lot of the Challenger stuff. There'll be more news this weekend. Yeah. So, we'll talk more about that probably next week. And then I think with that said, I think we can get into our predictions or into our power rankings. Let's get right into it. Let's go. Alrighty. So, I mean, we can maybe do like an overarching like reaction stuff a little bit leading into our power rankings. So, obviously, I mean, this is the template we're going to be using for the power rankings. Nothing too crazy here. That's what we're rocking and rolling. Yes, sir. Hot fire.
That's fresh.
And there's beautiful Rex Shady Nero. And it should be a good one. So, I mean, as a whole, what are your overarching thoughts and reactions? I mean, we probably can just spend most of our time just going through the teams and talk about them each individually during our power rankings questions there. But thoughts on the event as a whole. Let's give one big surprise. What was something that surprised you the most? Rex, want to start?
Surprised me the most. I mean, I guess LA Gorillas. I think they were playing higher than what people were expecting. Probably what I was expecting as well. Other than that, I mean, you could say,
well, what about LAG surprised you?
I mean, I think their S&D is really good. I think they were able to, because I guess I bet my concern and probably other people's concerns with them was, are they going to be able to keep up in the slaying game with these other teams?
And they 3-0'd LA Thieves off the rip.
And they were able to. And LA Thieves is a team where, like, I heavily put them more on they're more of a slaying team. So you have like Gorillas is more of like a very technical team versus Thieves, who I see more as like a slaying team.
Yeah, and they smoked them.
Lean in that direction, and Gorillas like really smoked them. And
in
so
the respawns, ironically, it was round 11 in the raid S&D. So
yeah,
I thought that was probably one of the most surprising series of the whole weekend. I mean, too. Yeah. So I agree.
Yeah, obviously subliners.
Obviously,
I mean that's the big low hanging fruit there. But I wanted to shout out Paris.
Yeah.
They lose 3-1. However, that is probably the closest 3-1.
Yes.
Like
facts.
I like the Paris shout out.
Yeah.
Facts.
Right?
People are not giving Paris their credit. I don't know if it's
surprising though, because I mean I feel like a lot of people predicted Paris to win.
I guess, but like I feel like Paris was still kind of
No, but I mean the S&D, the control, and the hard point could have gone literally any way.
Yeah, like I guess I feel like some people may have thought that was kind of like a fluky thing for Paris.
Yeah,
a little bit, and then coming into this, like they would have gotten smoked.
Right,
but that was legit. Could have been a Paris win over Mutineers. So
Paris is the real deal.
I think they are, but again, the meta
real
change,
deal to be top 10,
top 6.
I mean, Paris are not going to be one-hit wonders,
top 8.
You know.
Guess we're going to see here in about 10 minutes.
Do something a little more.
Yeah,
top 8,
they're going to keep growing.
Maybe.
Yeah. Also, Rocker kind of disappointing.
Oh yeah, definitely disappointing in a sad way.
Yeah, very disappointing. But yeah, those were like the biggest things on
Ultra.
Honestly.
I was expecting Ultra to give a little more against that Thieves matchup.
I mean,
if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, is like the Ultra beat the Rocker.
Exactly. And so like Ultra had a bad series against the Thieves. I can't be convinced otherwise. Ultra played a bad series against the Thieves.
Oh, they played horrible.
The Thieves weren't even doing anything that special.
That was the 2v7 on Checkmate.
And like Ultra was just, I don't know what happened to them, but their brains were fried or something.
Bro, their respawn
they definitely
is
have bounce back potential from that.
Bad.
Ultra are a weird team. Like
they're such a weird team. They just continue. Talk about no ice right now. I mean, my word, they just keep blowing it over and over and over. They had a 2v7 on Checkmate against 100T to at least force a map 4, and they blew it in control because they couldn't get to the zone. Like,
Although,
oh my
that's
goodness.
a different sort of 2v7. Like, that's a timing thing. Like,
I mean, they were
one
pressed for
wave
time.
of people. Like, LA Thieves got the one wave of people. You can't make it back there in
To
time.
be fair,
It was
he
like
did
2
kill
seconds
everyone.
left. So
Yeah.
like, sure, it sucks and it looks bad, but in reality, that's a hard situation for Ultra, to be honest.
I mean, yes, but we haven't
if
seen
Ultra
that
won
yet
it,
in the
I would have been
CDL.
surprised.
So I get
Once
what
they
you're
got to
saying.
that situation.
No, for sure. I understand that. I don't know. I mean, it's just really, Toronto's in a tough spot. I'm sure we'll talk about them more in a second.
Yeah.
They were very surprising, though, to say the least. And I guess for me, I mean, besides those, you kind of nailed all of like the probably the biggest surprises.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously the most surprising outcome of the whole weekend would have been New York's 3-0 of Optic.
Yes.
That was the biggest surprise of the whole weekend,
Mhm.
undoubtedly. Out of any team, player, moment, match, series, whatever it was, that was the biggest surprise. And
It was like a
obviously
hot one, too.
everyone's going to highlight, Diamond Con snaking on Crossroads and all that. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, that
Snaking
was
is not
unreal.
why they won.
I mean, no,
No.
definitely not.
No, it's weird, but they got up.
What did you guys
outclassed.
think of that series?
Oh gosh, so the control, they gave them their first control loss.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Which was like a huge blunder for Optic. They should have won that last game 5. Like, right? It went to game 5, did it not?
What? No.
No, it didn't.
Wait, New York? No, they 3-0'd them.
Control.
Oh, the control. No, it went to game 4 because they won the
It was
offense.
game 4. That's right. Yeah, Optic should have won that because it was like 11-4 at one point. Live count.
Yeah, it was because the offense defense thing again there. But yeah, New York. Optic was on offense and they were up. 11-4.
Insane.
But again, it's another situation where it's timing causes you to flood.
But that
It
Crossroads
was
hard
250 to 155 on that.
Yeah, the Crossroads hard point, they were getting like, they just could not ever have control. Like,
No.
like New York would always gain control, even if Optic had like spawns for like a second. They just could not do anything.
No.
It was like you looked at the minimap the whole game. Optic didn't have anything going. It was crazy.
And then the S&D was uglier.
Oh, it was terrible.
6-1.
Terrible.
It was 6-1. Like there was moments where you're like, Optic has no clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing? They're just like that moment where Diamond Con was sitting on
my
satellite.
word. That was like,
and they just kind of like slowly walk out.
They chalked that like round, like they just didn't care. Like, we're all gonna pop out.
What?
And Time God gets the easiest 3-piece of his life. Like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah,
I don't know if that was an ego thing, like where they're just like, we're better, let's go, and then
Probably.
I don't know,
like,
but Optic can do better. I will admit, Optic can do better than that, especially in the respawn.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
Oh yeah,
I love the subliners, but Optic can play better than what they did.
that was a terrible series for Optic.
I mean,
great series
they're
for
just-
New York.
Yeah, I mean, New York played great, and Optic played horrible. Like
Really bad.
you can tell the difference when both teams are playing very well,
Mm-hmm.
or when one team is just playing very bad.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean, New York deserves credit, but
Mhm.
like a lot of teams, if Optic were playing like that, would beat them.
Yeah.
I mean, that was horrible.
And really, Dashy was the only person that was like really putting up numbers too. Like,
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
which is
The S&D, like in that situation, like is inexplicably bad.
0-6 from formal, right?
0-6 from formal. Yeah, another
Yeah.
donut for Optic.
Yeah, which is very unfortunate. I was like, oh, dude, you can't go.
That's tough.
It's rough.
That's tough. I mean, obviously, Clay got his juicy revenge
oh yeah.
on Dashy for
He was
putting him in
so
C tier.
hype. It was actually pretty cool to see like him like slam his desk at the end. Like,
Yeah.
he was so excited. I was like,
Yeah, I mean, that
oh.
hype was real. I mean, could you imagine that on LAN? All the fans would be booing.
I
Mhm.
mean, that was for top 3. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
huge for subliners.
It's insane. It's
Mhm.
insane. I mean, if you would have told me subliners get top 3, like if you're like, oh yeah, at some point this year, subliners get top 3, I'd be like, wow, dude,
Yeah.
they were dominating in July.
Yeah.
Like they were really finding their
Mhm.
groove near champs. But I'm like, it's freaking March.
Yeah.
What? That's just so crazy.
Yeah. They go from like getting 3-0'd by
Getting-
Dallas
10-point clubbed or whatever
Yeah.
in hard points
and then
in scrims.
all of a sudden they're just on fire, man. So I mean, that was really cool to see.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. So, I mean, I guess we can kind of head into our power rankings discussion here. How do you want to approach the meta shift? Because that's going to affect, at least in my head, that affects power rankings. Like I'm gonna be projecting the meta into my power rankings at least a little bit.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, that's my thing. Is like I don't know. I mean, like, what's the point of doing power rankings on for a past meta at this point? You know?
Yeah.
It's not ideal with the meta shift happening the day we're going to do our power rankings, because then it's like it does change things a little bit. Yeah. But I think it'll create for some interesting discussion, at least for how this could affect the teams in the power rankings. So here's, like I said, here's the template we're using here. Pretty nifty. And we got it all lined up so we can fill it straight into our doc here. And hopefully everybody's got it pulled up.
Oh, yeah.
And we can fill it in from here. So we're going to start at the bottom, obviously, with our bottom tiers. We're going to be filling.
Bottom. Okay.
Yeah, we'll start at the bottom and then be filling in our tiers as we go. Yep. We might not fill in the tiers right away, as we kind of want to get a good feel for where we're at with the tier breaks and stuff. So we'll kind of fill in the different colors of tiers as we go. We allow ourselves up to 5 tiers.
Yeah.
But you can use as few or as many tiers if you'd like. If you truly believe in your head, in your heart, that there's only 2 tiers, you could use only 2 tiers. So it all comes down to what you guys believe about the tiers and how this could play out. So, Rex, start us off with the team that you are putting at the very itty bitty bottom. I think we might have all the same one here. Yeah. Nothing too surprising there. I think we're gonna go.
Yeah, I think London has the potential upside there, but now with even the meta shift included with the players that they're using, it does not bode well for them at all.
No.
But yeah, London's 12 right now.
Yeah, Sam.
Gosh, yeah. It just so, again, it's very unfortunate because like you know this team could be decent. You know, it's like Parasite playing the role he's playing.
100%.
You know, like if you had a solid squad that was practicing since day one, man, this team could be a little bit better. But
I mean, in their current state,
as of right now, it's
going to be weeks before they're really competitive again. Yeah. I mean, it's 4v4, and there's a lot of talent in this league. In London, I mean, they're 4 established pros, like guys who have so much history in the league. I mean, they can take a map or two off of teams, and maybe they win a series. Yeah. Like they're not going to consistently win. No. And we don't know what day specifically, by the way, that we're getting the groups for the upcoming series yet. We don't know yet. Hopefully, I mean, imagine by the next podcast we'll have them.
Yeah.
But that'll happen eventually. I see in my, I'll spoiler this, London is in their own tier here. Yeah. They're in their own tier.
Yeah.
Of 12. They're in their own tier of 12 right now. It's tough. But that's where I got them. Anyone else? Rex?
I got them in the same, probably
tough.
In their own tier.
Yeah. I've already did 2, but the question is, do I do 4 or 5 tiers? So I'm going to leave it for now.
But they can climb out. London, you can climb out. I know you can.
Hey, Zed could be a great addition to this team.
They did take 2 maps off of Ultra with 10 minutes of practice. I mean, 15 minutes of practice.
Sometimes that little mix-up is just what you need. You need to throw another player in there.
Exactly.
And Zed might be that guy.
Certain communications, certain leadership.
I mean, Zed's been an absolute unit in the past.
Challenges too. Like he's been making waves.
Yeah. So it's very possible that like this could be great for them.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of question marks there, and like again, the meta, it doesn't bode well for London either. So
I mean, who plays the AK-74? Parasite or Shawnee?
Shawnee. Yeah. Oh, sorry. City for you.
Yeah. Parasite.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's real tough. But yeah. Alrighty. Sam, lead the way with your 11th team on the board here.
It kills me. It really does. It kills me because I wanted this team to like do something, something. But Surge is just such an uninteresting team right now.
Yep.
You know? Yeah, and then with the meta change, I feel like Gunless was in his prime with XM4. Now they're sitting for you.
I don't think it helps them. No. I don't know if it necessarily hurts them a ton, because I mean, Gunless can use he can use SMGs.
It's just like,
and honestly, honestly though, it might make Octane even better. To be honest, I think he prefers the slower type of AR plays, like a Krig type play.
It could balance out the Gunless falls a little bit, but then Octane does raise up just a little
and
bit too.
it'll probably help Pristini and Looney in the long term, just with like it balances the SMG overall as a whole. I mean, I can see it.
Maybe Pristini could play more of his headbutt role. And
it feels more of a neutral thing for me for Seattle, not like a plus or a minus. Which a neutral might be a plus.
Yeah, but as it's right now, man, I don't know. I'm just Surge. It's got to be number 11 for me. I just have not seen anything to make me think otherwise. That's where I am right now. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they were 1-5. I mean they were 0-5 in. I'm sorry, they were 1-5 in the league, and then they lost their match to the Mutineers in champs. So they're currently 1-6. Yeah, I mean 1-5. I can't talk. Holy cow!
It's okay.
It hurts. But Rex, where are you at with this?
Yeah, I'm going Surge at 11 as well. I honestly think, I think the meta shift's gonna bode better for them, but I don't know if it's gonna excel them up much higher than where they're at now. Like I just haven't seen any
they haven't won a control yet.
I haven't seen any sort of spark from them that makes me be like, okay, here it is. I think
that's
it's
the
still
thing.
building at least, but I haven't seen that spark, that flash in their gameplay that's like, there's the greatness right there.
I do think you're right though. I think Octane improves from this meta change.
Okay.
And we could see maybe a more rounded Seattle Surge. Maybe Octane making more of a presence on the map, because part of the reason why I feel is Octane wasn't making that much of an impact on the map.
I mean, he was still playing well.
He was.
But in the past, we've seen him as a top 5 player in the league constantly.
Yeah.
Right now, he's top 12. But Seattle needs him to be top 5.
Yeah.
So that is a difference there. I agree. I mean, it's tough for me. I'm probably between Paris. I mean, the Ultra is an interesting argument, but I have so much more faith in the Ultra in the long term, which is why, the Surge at this exact moment, you probably have to put him at 11, but I don't really want to.
Really?
But I will, because I don't believe in Paris.
Really?
Why?
Wow, that makes no
You're
sense.
insane. Why would you not believe in Paris? You telling me you haven't seen any sort of life from Paris?
Not any stats. Whoa.
You're telling me.
I don't totally believe in
Well,
Paris.
you just talk them down like
Paris?
You talk them down like that.
Murder their families?
You just talk them down. It's just whoa, Paris, I feel has potential to get into even the top 6 or 5.
Yeah. Oh,
maybe not right now, but their upward shot is high, I think, really high. And I think they're really growing fast.
By the way, Surge has yet to win a control.
I did just say that about a minute ago.
Did you?
I did.
Wow.
That's fine. They are 0-.
How embarrassing is that? For me, not for Surge.
Not for the Surge, bro. It's pretty embarrassing. They're 0-6. But yeah, that's tough. I mean, their respawn is interesting. I think their hardpoint's interesting. They could be pretty interesting in hardpoint. And their S&D's not bad. Their control is just so bad.
So bad.
They're at least a middle of the tier, a middle of the road hardpoint team. Middle of the road hardpoint team. And then they're I would say a top 6, top 7 S&D. So they're not bad S&D team, but they're so bad at control. It's bro, you're putting weight. I mean, if they can figure it out, I think they can quickly start, being very, very competitive again. But that's what makes it tough for me. So Surge, I'll throw at 11. At 10, I'll lead the way. I'm going Paris at 10, but it's very, very close. They're going to be in the same tier as probably the team in front of them as well. So I'm going to go Paris at 10, but that I agree that they have some potential, and I do trust them a little bit more than some of the teams around them. But my issue is with power rankings, I'm I guess in my head, power rank isn't just will you for sure beat the teams below you? It's how much of a chance do you have at beating the teams at the top? And I just don't think Paris could ever consistently beat the top 4 teams. Or I do believe that there's a world where Seattle can get to that point where they can very much compete with the top 4 teams on a consistent basis.
I'm on the opposite scale with that one.
That's interesting because
I think Paris has that more pop off potential. Maybe not consistently, but like if we're going like Paris versus Empire and Surge versus Empire, I would have more faith in Paris pulling that off than I would Surge.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not against that, but like it's just the upside is just it's hard for me to get excited about the Paris team. But I can see where they could be. I can see where they could be a top 8 team, top 7 team, like right in that middle tier range. It's like I guess I'm just kind of approaching power rankings a little bit different when it comes to like, you know, it does encompass a little bit of the upside of the team as well, not just like if it's Paris versus Ultra right now, it's a toss-up match, but I think I would still favor Ultra like 52-48, you know? Like very, very close for me. So, I mean, I guess I want to hear your thoughts. Rex, who do you have?
See, like man, it's crazy. And like, I'm not going to do this. Like, I don't know what it is, but like, it's the Rocker and Thieves, man.
I knew you were gonna say the Rocker.
It's the Rocker and Thieves, and I'm not gonna do it because like they're like what they've done, like shows it's not. And maybe I just am. Maybe it's just like inherently built into me. They're like but I just don't feel it from them. I just don't feel it. Like when I give myself a gut check, I'm like I just do not feel that.
But do you really feel the Ultra, the Mutineers? More than the Rocker and the Thieves?
The Rocker are 2 and 7 in Hardpoint.
Sure. I see Mutineers. I could see Ultra doing it.
Rocker is a terrible Hardpoint team.
Oh, they're so bad. The Rocker are a terrible Hardpoint team.
Yeah.
It's so like that's
if
where
you're losing Hardpoints, but you're winning S&Ds. I don't know.
Like this is where it gets tough for me. Like I do not want to put Paris at 10 because I think Paris can really climb.
I don't think the meta change helps Paris.
I mean, you have Scraps, Classic, Fire, and Aqua. You can put Scraps on a sub, and then you have
Scraps is already on a sub.
And then you have Aqua playing your AR, and then you have Classic and Fire playing sub.
It's Fire though. It's
definitely doable.
Probably downgrade a little bit.
I mean, Fire was at his best when using the XM4.
Yeah,
but he's a natural sub player.
We'll see.
I'm
not sold, man. I'm just not sold. And generally, when you have these big switch ups in metas, the most naturally talented teams rise to the top, and that's just kind of how I see it. I mean, again, I don't think this meta is going to be like game shifting, like altering, but there are going to be like those minuscule tiebreaker type things. That's why I have Paris at 10.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, this 10 through like 4, it's hard.
Oh, it's a mosh pit, bro. It's a mosh pit.
This is terrible for power rankings.
It's really, really tough. And like you could look really, really dumb by champs.
Yeah. Which I will.
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay.
Decision, Rex.
Yeah, Rex,
I mean,
you have a 10.
What? So hard for me.
All right, Sam, who do you have at 10?
I have Rocker at 10.
Whoa, you're doing it?
I am.
Oh, my word, dude.
I am.
Sam, you have gusto, man, and I respect that so much. I wish.
Oh,
I'm going. I'll put Ultra at 10. I'll put Ultra at 10.
That's I
don't feel good about that. I'll put Paris
so
at 10.
tilted. You're so tilted. I love this.
I'll put Paris at 10, but Paris can't compete.
Yeah, I mean, again, so that's really Rocker. Mm-hmm. Rocker V. I mean, I guess I get it. I mean, if you're taking straight off of what did you do for me lately, I mean, the Rocker they lost to the Ultra.
Yeah.
So I mean, they lost 3-2 in a really insane series.
My biggest thing with Rocker is, I guess I was putting Priesta on a pretty large pedestal going into this season.
Yeah.
And he's really let me down, unfortunately. Which is terrible to say. Like, I think he's playing his role as best as he can, and Attach is really stepping up. But I don't know, man. I thought this team would be kind of nasty.
I mean, I agree that they've been disappointing so far.
Yeah.
I mean, you go into this and you're like, man, and really Attach hasn't. He's looked great.
Attach has looked.
It's been Major
really
Maniac
good.
and Priesta.
Yes,
especially in respawns.
Mm-hmm.
But with this meta shift, don't you think it helps Rocker?
Oh, it helps the Rocker.
Probably.
It helps the Rocker because accuracy is way more of a traditional main AR.
Mm-hmm.
He wants the Krig. I'm sure he hates the XM4.
Major's probably the biggest thing though.
But Major, he probably prefers the XM4.
Yeah.
But I think he can be just fine playing with the 74U right now.
Mm-hmm.
And how much of their team chem is going to build? Because I think Rocker has a problem with their team chem.
Like what do you mean by
their friends?
team chem?
Like in game, the movements, they're like the plays they're making on the mini map and like how they're playing as a unit, I haven't been super impressed with.
Specifically, like in respawns.
Hard
point specifically. I mean, when you lose both hard points to Ultra, who sucks at hard point, that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
Because and of course the only hard point that hasn't gone the distance this year was that match, Ultra v Rocker, which the timer ended.
Yeah.
Which that has got to say something that debatably the two worst hard point teams there are right now. There's the only match that hasn't gone the distance.
Yeah.
Or that I guess has gone the distance. Is that if the timer runs out, does that mean it goes the distance, or does does going to 250 mean it goes the distance?
If the timer goes out, I think
that's going the distance.
I guess you can say it goes the distance, but it's not a good distance.
No, that's a pretty terrible distance. It's a pretty terrible distance. But yeah, so I don't know, man. I mean, the Ultra and Rocker are like neck and neck right now. Their match went game 5. Their game 2 S&D went 6-5. Their map went hardpoint. It didn't even, the timer ran out. You know, so like they are a very, very close team right now. And that's what makes it tough for me. So I guess with that said, I'm putting the Ultra at 9.
The meta shift is really messing with my head.
Yeah, 100%. I'm putting the Ultra at 9. They have been, the Ultra and the Rocker have been incredibly disappointing. And I mean, the Ultra have shown so many signs of being the team I want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh my word, that was awesome. Like the S&D was so good there. Like, you know, their control looked great or whatever it was. But like their hard point is just continually let them down. And against any of the good teams, like whenever they play against, you know, a little bit stiffer competition, things just go horribly wrong.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what? And yeah, at this point, I can't trust the Ultra, which is a shame. That's why they're at 9. But they're still in the same tier as Surge and Paris.
Yeah. I may have a large middle tier, man.
Same.
You know what? Sam's inspiring me. I'm changing my number 10 to Rocker as well.
What?
How can I not follow my gut on this? How can I not? Like it's going against it's going against every fiber of my being. Like it just like doesn't feel right.
Okay. Well, now I'm interested to see because where you guys have it 9 then. Who do you guys have it 9? Rex, lead the way.
Number 9, I'm gonna go with. This is where I'll put Paris here on this.
Wait, do you have intentionally have Surge in their own tier as well?
Yes.
Really? Oh wow,
Yes.
that's actually really interesting.
Weird.
Okay, very interesting. So you're going Paris here.
Yeah, Paris and 9.
Okay, interesting. Sam, are you going to show more faith in Paris than Rex is?
I may. I'm debating between Ultra and Paris. Man.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see where you guys think of the Mutineers as well, because
Right now
I'm not that confident.
The teams I'm not either. LAG even.
I'm not that confident.
Mutineers, Ultra, Paris. It's these middling teams, man, that like sometimes can just be a coin flip, like Octane tweeted out. It's just whether they show up that day.
And what map you end up playing with vetoes.
Exactly. But taking into the count.
I'm changing mine to Ultra just before Sam says anything.
Jeez.
Rex is on full tilt.
Yeah.
I really am.
Or everyone out there.
I am putting Paris here. I don't have confidence right now in the meta shift with Paris as opposed to Ultra.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's the thing. I do. I don't know why we don't think Fire 40 can play a sub. Why do we not think he can play a sub?
I just think I saw him whenever I watched him at his peak, he was using an XM4 every single time. And so it just creates that like, well, what if their team doesn't work as well? Mm-hmm. And it felt like I think Aqua is better off suited with an XM4 with how he likes to play. I'm not necessarily confident that, you know, a Krig is his style to the T inside of Respawn. That's why I get a little bit worried about Paris, and that's why I have him at 10 and debated having them at 11. But yeah, all right. So Rex, you went Ultra at 9. And Sam has Paris at 9. Sam, you still have no tiers decided here.
I don't, dude. So I'm gonna get to 6 before I just start doing
Oh wow,
tiers.
okay. So you're gonna really let it sit for a second.
I am.
Okay. All right, that's fine. That's fine. All right, Sam, lead the way then with who you got at 8.
Okay, so 8, I'm just telling you right now, 876 is probably gonna be Ultra LAG.
Of these 3 teams.
Ultra LAG Mutineers.
What about LA Thieves?
I have some confidence in Thieves.
Okay.
Probably more than Rex.
Yeah, I think you do.
So here's the deal.
Ooh, what deal am I getting?
Here's the deal.
Ooh.
You think about Florida. Man, they look so hot at the beginning. Then for some reason, falling flat. Now with the meta change, Awakening goes to sub. Which is not bad. It's just, I feel like XM4, again, is probably more suited for him.
I mean, S&D's not going to change how he plays.
No.
So, I mean, S&D, I think they'll still be just fine with Awakening dominating constantly.
LAG is a weird team for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I'm going to go... I'm just going to say...
This is so tough.
It is.
8 through 5 is really tough.
I am going to put my foot down and put Surge here. It's not a confident surge, but it's a surge.
You already have Surge at 11, bro. This is awkward.
What I meant to say
Florida
was Ultra.
Oh. Wow, that makes no sense.
For some reason, the Ultra and Surge with the U's, that's what got me.
Oh, wow, weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. But okay,
Scratch
Ultra.
that.
All right, so
Ultra.
interesting.
Surge.
Why Ultra? I mean, just because Ultra beat Rocker, it's like that's kind of like why you're working with this here.
Yeah. So Ultra again, like when Bance is on, Bance is on. And then you got Cam and Kleenex. Methods has still kind of been like that, like mid-range assault.
Bance and Methods
AR.
have been iffy, and then Kleenex, I mean, let alone Kleenex and Cam have been really inconsistent, especially in hard point.
So it's like, to me, it's more about their ceiling than anything.
Agreed.
They
have
are
upside.
Inconsistent, yeah, which is part of why I don't have them above Mutineers or LAG right now.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought process right now. It's just they're a team that can be a contender for like any other teams really, but their consistency just has not been there. And like Bance, like man, he went off like very beginning. I can't remember that.
That was at the kickoff event. Yeah,
kickoff event. But yeah, man, yeah, I don't know if I trust them to like be consistent.
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. All right, Rex, who do you have at 8?
So number 8, I'm gonna go with Paris on this one. Just gonna stick that one. I think Paris is. I feel like Paris has that fire in their gut that like they're gonna be improving every single day to the best of like their ability and really putting their all into everything. This is not the same Paris as last year, and I feel like we're wrong for going in with that sort of bias with them where we're putting them so low because of last year when this is a totally different team and we've seen them show up and we've seen them play great COD.
Yeah. No, I get that. That's what's tough.
And I don't think the meta is going to be that damaging to them.
Agreed, but at the same time, it's like, who have they really beat? I mean, they've looked good against good teams, but I mean, they lost to the Mutineers, and the Mutineers, I wouldn't say the
Mutineers higher than you do. That's all I'll say.
Higher than I do?
Yep.
I mean,
I think
that's to be seen.
Mutineers are going to be way better than what we saw them. They're going to be way better.
I definitely have some legit questions with the Mutineers still with how they've played as a whole. But I'd imagine that's what's going to be interesting about this because there's some really interesting conversations to be had with how these teams played against each other. So I'm sitting here staring down the Rocker, the Mutineers, LAG, LA Thieves, the Subliners. I don't know. And at 8, and it doesn't feel like any of those teams stick out to me as the definitive worst team of those 4. I mean, out of the teams, off of the last tournament, obviously the Rocker are the team that performed the worst, and that's probably why I'm going to go Rocker here. But I don't feel good about it because I do think that this meta is very interesting for the Rocker and how it could potentially play out, but the respawn's a legit problem, and that can take time to fix. And that's why we're looking at like the Rocker and Ultra, probably the two worst, respawn teams. I mean, Ultra just beat the Rocker, but I'm going to have Rocker ahead of them. I know Ballsy doesn't, not the best look. But it was a 3-2. And that was a 3-2. Insanely close. Insanely close, back and forth all the way through. If they replayed again, the Rocker could easily beat them. And I think giving another 2 weeks of practice to LA to the Rocker in a meta shift that I think helps them as a whole. That's why I have them having the advantage over the Ultra in this situation. So I'm throwing them in the same tier for sure. So that's it. All right, Rex, who do you got at number 7?
Number 7, I think I'm gonna go with. And so I guess if we have this talk about the meta shift, I feel like the meta shift is going to... Like, I'm debating between two teams, Gorillas and Thieves. Meta shift, I think, favors the Thieves a lot.
Wow.
Really?
I mean, what do you have? Kenny, TJ, Temp, and Slasher. And then Temp can easily play sub. Kenny, like... And then
it feels like a net neutral to me.
I feel like the Gorillas actually improve.
Really?
Think about Assault. Going to Krieg. Slow.
Probably prefers it.
Slow.
Silly,
but then
better on an XM4 though.
Yes.
Yes.
Much better on an XM4.
But then you have, I guess you have Apathy and Vivid.
Apathy and Vivid were
already
yeah, the SMGs.
Running the 74U, weren't they?
Yeah.
So I guess it depends on, do you think Assault, his improvement outweighs Silly's decline?
I don't know if it does.
Maybe not. So maybe I just lied to you all.
I think I'm going to go, I'm going with Gorillas here at number 7.
Yeah.
Gorillas at number 7 for me.
I mean,
but it's a toss-up.
That's tough. I mean, they were just, they just finished top 6 at the event. Like, it is a tough call. It's tough to go against the most recent tournament that we just saw them. Obviously, they lost to New York.
And we're going off this whole meta thing. If it was based on the same meta we're playing now, I would easily put Gorillas above Thieves. But
what?
If we're playing like the regular, like what we were playing in
I would put them ahead. In my head, I was thinking Toronto.
And that would be no question. But now with this, who knows how the meta is going to change? We could end up still seeing 2 Kriegs is better. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
that's
it
my
just
thing.
feels like it's going to be a 3 sub, 1 AR, and things. I'm
surprised you're doing LAG over behind, or LAT over LAG. I'm surprised.
It's a tough one for me, but just it solely is made because I have what I think is going to happen with the new meta. With XM4 gone. It's just what I think is going to happen, but I'm not confident in it.
Yeah, I mean, are they going to be in the same tier? Where are you at? Because you have Rocker, Ultra, Paris in their own tier right now, if we're looking at that.
Yeah, they're going to still remain in this tier here.
Okay. All right. That's reasonable. All right, Sam, where are you at with it? Number 7. Who you got?
All right. Gosh. So again, for me, it's going to be between Mutineers and LAG.
Okay.
Boy. Mutineers, man.
You were high on the Mutineers, Rex.
I am high on the Mutineers. I don't know why people aren't.
I mean, they just been falling short.
They got mollywopped. They got beat here, but I guess their potential.
Part of what you think about the Mutineers depends on what you think about New York, because the Mutineers beat Paris 3-1, they beat Seattle 3-1, and then they lost to New York 3-2. So you being solidified on New York makes sense that you'd have Mutineers higher. For me, I still have a few questions about the Mutineers, and I also have some questions about LAG, and I also have some questions about New York, but I also have questions about LA Thieves.
Yeah, wow.
I have a lot of questions.
Awesome. A
whole bunch of questions here for my next 4 teams.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put, boy, oh boy.
It's not easy, dude. It's really, really tough. I do think that this is a new tier for me, by the way, though. I think this is a new tier for me.
Okay.
Filling dead air with the
Gorillas.
Okay, you're going LAG?
I'm going LAG.
Wow.
I have a little bit more upside with Mutineers. Awakening, of course, is disgusting. Skies, when he is on point, he is on point. Slacked cannot be. The question is, Silly may fall pretty hard with this meta change. And then Apathy and Vivid kind of, yeah. I feel confident with this.
I really like the Mutineers,
I do
but
too.
I'm really worried about the Mutineers.
Yeah.
I just feel like when I watch them, I'm not watching good team CoD. Like, I'm watching incredible individual CoD with Awakening and Skies, but like
Teamwork's not there.
Like Awakening dropped how many kills in that one checkmate S&D that they lost? It was a ton. It was like 14 or something, and they lost. If a guy's dominating like that, you shouldn't be losing an S&D.
Yeah.
And they were getting first blood after first blood. They're not capitalizing their first bloods. And there's just so many, like, I feel like internal issues with how they play.
But you don't think that's going to get worked out?
I mean, in the long term, it'll get worked out, but I don't think that this meta shift helps them in any way. And it makes me just a little bit more worried about them as a whole. I think I'm going Mutineers at 7, which I really like this team though, but I'm going Mutineers at 7. Again, this is a new tier though, so I'm back into tier 3 here now. But I don't feel good about it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I mean, I'd like to hear your guys' argument for like Mutineers. I mean, you guys are probably talking Mutineers here now, but like Mutineers versus Guerrillas, then like specifically.
Yeah.
Because obviously those are, I think Mutineers, Guerrillas, Thieves, all of those teams are they're very close in my head. But
yeah, I guess for me with Mutineers, I am very much putting more weight on the individual talent, like you had said, and I guess my hopes is that they can clean it up. And then once they do, they're going to be...
Neptune continues to grow as a player as well.
And they're going to be better than LAG once they clean it up. But if they never do...
I'm still worried about Slacked, to be fair.
We've seen individually great players come together, but then not be able to win games because they're not playing together. So
Optic last year.
Exactly. So that could be a problem. I guess I am forecasting that they will play as a team.
Because we saw them dominate against Seattle. Like, I mean... Besides that, they played a decent series against Paris, which again, I'm lower on Paris, so that's part of why I probably have Mutineers here.
Yeah.
And then I saw them go 3-2 against New York, and I'm a little bit lower on New York than you guys, or at least for sure, Rex.
Yeah.
So that would be part of that as well. So that's why I have Mutineers here. I really think they have a ton of upside, and when it comes to upside, they probably have as much, if not more, upside than any of the teams we've talked about so far. So I get why you have them lower, but I guess from what you've seen lately, it makes it tough. So Rex already has Thieves at 6 here.
Yep.
Who are the teams you're debating here at 6? Is there one clear for you? Because for me, it's really, really tough at 6 here.
Terribly tough.
Between LA Thieves, LAG, and the subliners for the next 3 teams. Yep. I know, Rex, I'll be interested to see where you have the subliners versus Optic and how that plays out moving forward. But Sam, where are you at with this? Because it is very difficult to kind of sift through the pros and cons of all 3 of these teams right now.
Yeah. So I guess for me, holy dude. In my head, I have Thieves. I'm still not down on them after their performance. It's hard not to be. But like, they got 3-0'd by LAG. They did.
Then they 3-0'd the Ultra. Then they got 3-1'd by Optic in a pretty ugly series. They got smoked in a lot of those maps.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the big question mark is that the 3-0 by LAG.
Yeah.
Like what happened?
What happened? What do we take away from that? Like, what does it mean?
Right. And that's what I'm struggling to deal with. Because when I watched that series, I mean, LAG just out-technicaled them in every single corner. Like, at every single corner. And it came down to round 11 in an S&D. And they clutched up. And Thieves played it pretty poorly. Yeah. It played a lot of rounds pretty poorly in that S&D. So I do see the upside for Thieves. But my question is like, like right now in the moment, I don't think that the meta shift's going to change that. So I don't think I can put LAG behind or in front of. I can't put LAG behind Thieves. So I think I have to go Thieves here. Even though I'm not like by any means sold on LAG, the CoD that I saw LAG play, ironically in their loss to FaZe, they lost 3-0 to FaZe. But when you watch that series back, I watched some of it back because I was thinking about doing a learn from the pros on some of that. They played some really, really good CoD in that series. And I walked away from watching a 3-0 where I was like, wow, Like that was really close. And then FaZe ends up winning the tournament. So that's why I'm at least a little bit more confident in LAG right now. But the meta shift does scare me because I'm not sold that this helps them in any way.
Yeah.
Which is why there's a lot of question marks in this middle tier. But now I just went on like a rant forever. Sam, thoughts?
Yeah. So for me, the debate is Mutineers or Thieves.
Okay.
And so to me, I feel like Thieves are a little bit better team than Mutineers right now. Technically, I think Thieves are playing a little bit more of a team than Mutineers are. Because I was
in my humble opinion, I mean, obviously, I would be going Mutineers.
Mutineers.
I really think the Mutineers in the next event are going to be night and day from what we saw.
Really?
Their teamwork, their problem was, again, it's none of the players. It was just a team chemistry thing, and that's something that can be fixed.
I mean, are you sold?
You have Ryan Ogre though. Like, you have this whole, like, and you have Ricky Atura, like, they're going to be just fine.
The talent's there. I 100% agree. I just don't know if they're there as a team. The Mutineers could be insane by the middle of the summer. By like June, they could be insane. But I'm not sold yet. That's why I have them at 7. Sam, you just typed them in at 6?
Mutineers for me.
Okay. All right. Well, now you're at 6 here.
Yep.
Where are you at with tiers? All
Here
right.
we go. London. I debated putting Surge in with London, to be honest with you.
Okay.
In that tier. Which I might do.
Really?
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
So you're pretty low on Surge then right now.
I am.
That's a shame.
I'll tell you
now
what.
we got a whole bunch of
I'll tell
tier
you what.
4. You cannot put Rocker there too, bro.
No.
Oh.
I'm debating how high to put tier 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Are we gonna have the same 4 teams in tier 4?
Ultra Paris Rocker, I think, are in a tier.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And then I think, why does it do that? That's annoying.
I got you. Just keep talking.
Okay. And then I think Gorilla's Mutineers are in a tier 2. And I don't think 5 may be in their tier with them as well. So I'm going to have Rocker Paris Ultra in a tier, and then Gorilla's and Mutineers in a tier above them.
In their own tier? Or like, at least for now, in tier 3?
Yeah. That's what I'll do.
Dang. All right. There we are. So for me, I also agree. I think Thieves is in this tier 3 with the Mutineers right now. And then that puts me in a tough spot, like I said, with LAG. And then I'm looking at LAG. I'm looking at New York. I mean, you look at the results. You got to put New York there. I mean, you got to put LAG at 5 and give New York the benefit of the doubt at 4. So I'm going LAG, and then I'll go all the way up here with New York at 4. But we will have some interesting discussions here with Rex because I want to hear what he has to say. And go from there. I'm going to put LAG for sure in this middling tier. I'm not sure about New York yet. Thoughts, Rex?
I mean, if I like,
who are you having at 5?
That's the thing. Obviously I'm in a whirlwind here. I'm in a triangle of Optic, Mutineers, and Subliners, and I don't know what to make of this triangle.
Interesting. You're in the Bermuda.
Obviously, I want New York to be a successful team. Do I think they're there yet? With the little time they have now, with this meta shift, who it clearly feels like it's really going to be damaging to this New York team. Mutineers, I have high hopes that their teamwork is going to be night and day in the next event, and then Optic. Optic's a question mark for me, if I'm being completely honest. First they 3-0 Subliners, then they get 3-0'd. And then the game that they play, it's like, why is it so bad now all of a sudden? They weren't even winning their respawns, and it was like, I don't know what to make of them.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, I'm in this weird triangle, and can NYSL, they came in very hot, but it's easy to come in hot the first event. It's easy to do that.
It's the first event.
Can you carry the intensity throughout here? And that, I don't know yet. And that, I don't know.
I don't either.
Because they were really being carried by passion, let's be honest.
I agree. I mean, there was moments where I considered putting New York at like 6, but then it's like, do I really have LAG at 4? No. You know, so it's like,
Right.
I don't trust anything about these teams, and I agree with you now. Now that you say that, I'm putting New York in the same tier for sure. Sam, where you at about New York, I guess, right now?
I just want to say, I think it's... Go for it.
Sorry.
Yeah, Rex, actually, honestly, wait. Yeah, Rex, who do you have at 5 real quick since we're already on that conversation?
I think 5, I'm going to go with Mutineers.
Okay.
But it easily could have... It's tough. It easily could have been Optic. It could have easily been NYSL, to be honest.
Yeah. That makes sense. Sam?
Yeah. To me, I feel like... I mean, I'm going to sound like one of those, like, the common Optic fans, but it's hard to deny that, like, the Optic New York series was a bad play, like, bad showing from Optic. Like, they played terrible.
I mean, in my head, it's like, this is classic Optic. This is exactly what has always happened.
Mm-hmm.
They get cocky and they think it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
I mean, they just 3-0'd them 2 days before. It's like, they're going to come in. They're going to come in flat.
Mm-hmm.
New York is smoking hot after the last 2 series they had. And it was just the perfect storm for New York. And boy, was it a perfect storm. They 3-0 them, you know, and it took some horrible plays from Optic, and they were completely caught off guard.
Yeah.
And then as well with the meta shift, how it's just like, how can you put Optic? In my head, it's impossible to put Optic behind New York.
Optic looks lost in S&D, and I don't even know if that was like Optic playing bad, but like you're playing Garrison S&D, it's literally just sit there. Like it's.
I mean,
like,
Garrison can be weird though.
I mean, it can be, but it literally is like there's a line, and you wait because they have to go plant the bomb at A, or is it B? And it's like, I don't know how you get to a 6-1 on Garrison. Like, I feel like if your team plays right, you should at least win a round just based off just standing there. I mean, it's so hard to press packs that if they're not challenging, and I guess they were. Like, it was, I don't know. Optic should have played that way better, and that's what worries me. Like, why did that happen?
One thing
that was their first time playing Garrison in
competition.
In competition, so it could have just been a horrible, whatever. Currently, they're 5-6 in S&D.
I mean, one thing that's obvious is that the S&D meta is shifting very quickly with how teams are adjusting with their strats, and they're quickly learning off of how other teams play. I mean, the only team that seems to have any like real advantage right now in S&D is FaZe. And besides, I mean, like, and it's solely because Abezy is the freaking first blood wizard.
Yeah.
The dude is insane. He's been an insane X factor in S&D. And I mean, and then Simp knows how to play better off of Abezy than anybody ever could. Mm-hmm. And they play so well off of each other. It's unfair right now in S&D. And, I mean, Optic beat Dallas in searches. In their series, what was it? Like, they beat them, I have to pull it up real quick. They beat them 6-2 on Moscow. They lost, of course, the round 11.
Round 11, checkmate.
Because of that was unbelievable S&D on checkmate. Yeah. And, I mean, very competitive S&Ds there. They showed a lot of improvement in S&Ds. Obviously, we watched them smoke New York in the first series. So it's like, in my head, Optic, though they lost to New York 3-0, they did 3-0 New York as well.
Yeah.
And you have to give the advantage to Optic in the long term. You have to.
That's kind of where I'm at too.
But they're the third team.
What was the map count when Optic played? Was it Empire?
Yeah, they went game 5.
They did go game 5?
Yeah.
How close were the games that...
Yeah, they lost.
They lost both hard points and then round 11 S&D.
Optic lost 250-149 in Garrisons. They won 6-2 Moscow. They won 3-2 Control after the lobby drop. They had to replay round 5. And then they lost the Moscow hardpoint to Dallas, which Dallas has been bad on Moscow hardpoint, to be fair. And then they smoked them. It was 250-157. That was when Envoy was like, they went on that huge streak and they were still down by like 100. It was like, this is such a weird hardpoint. Like, it felt like Optic was winning and they were down by 100. And Dallas just outplayed spawns on them every single time that game. And then Dallas clutched up round 11, checkmate. And it came down to Huke, straight up dominating.
That's crazy.
Straight up dominating. And
Great
so, in my head, Optic is in a weird spot because it's like I don't know. Where are you at with tiers, I guess, with Optic in New York and Empire?
Yeah. It's hard not to have Optic and Empire in the same tier.
But then do you really want to put New York in that tier?
Weird.
But then it's like, if you put New York in that tier, then you're putting them in the same tier as Empire. That feels horribly wrong.
It feels very wrong.
You need a 6 tier because FaZe kind of needs to be in their own.
Oh, FaZe is in their own tier, 100%.
I will admit, Empire has been looking weaker than I think what we would like to see from that team.
Oh, wait, you put Mutineers in tier 2?
Yeah, I mean, these are kind of like my prelim tiers.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Dang.
So then what do you think of the 3-2 Optic FaZe match then?
Yeah, that's the thing. The Optic played FaZe to the T. I mean,
and could have won 3-1 very easily if it wasn't for Abezy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you really want to put FaZe in their own?
That's what's crazy about this.
I'm not sure if I want to put FaZe in their own tier.
I mean, I'm going to go NYSL at 4. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to put that out there. I debated it. I'm going to put NYSL at 4.
But that was, the Optic
tier,
FaZe match was just so long ago.
Yeah.
It's like, I just feel like I can't weigh that enough, at this point. I have to weigh what I saw most recently, which is Dallas Empire versus Optic. And then base that off how Dallas played FaZe. Where Dallas got 3-0'd by FaZe, and then they got 5-2'd by FaZe.
Well, you think this? Well, let's think about meta. Who's benefited more? Or are they equal?
Oh, I mean, Optic's hurt by the meta.
And
Overall,
Empire's
Dashy,
benefited.
yeah.
Do you think
Dashy.
Empire's team chemistry
And
and how they
Empire's
play maps
benefited.
are going to get better?
I think
so too.
I think so.
I think this makes it pretty clear.
Do we all have the
for
same
me
1,
from
2,
here
3?
on out?
100%. No, the 1, 2, 3 is the same for everyone, I think, here, right?
Yeah.
Unless Rex is going New York over Optic. And
I'm
Rex,
not going to do that yet, but I really think it could happen.
Yeah, okay. So I guess we'll put that all in, and then we'll just debate tiers.
Yeah.
So yeah, FaZe, Empire, Optic, New York. We all have the same top 4, and then a very different 5 through 11 or 5 through 10 for all of us, which is really, really interesting. One of our more diverse middle tiers we've ever had.
Yeah,
and very different, tier so far. So I guess this is what we're looking at here, chat or viewers, YouTube.
Chat.
I wish we were live. Pretty interesting though, as a whole. So you're going FaZe and Empire in the same tier.
That's the thing. They're not in the same tier, but I guess no, I'm not. I just clicked.
I'm definitely not. I'm putting tier 2. I'm putting New York in the middling tier, which is again ballsy considering the fact that they just beat Optic. I mean, it's ballsy, but Optic just beat them. And there is a core there. I'm gonna give the if you're a New York stan, or if you're Clay and you're looking at this, you're like, are you kidding me? Like, we just beat Optic when it mattered more, But
no, I think the meta shift hurts New York, and that's just being realistic.
It does hurt Optic. It does hurt Optic though.
Hurts Optic, but not as bad, and especially with New York's limited amount of practice. And now it kind of changes the game for New York.
Yeah.
And Optic, we say it hurts them. I don't think it honestly could end up being helpful for them.
I mean, there's a world where it is. I mean, I think at the end of the day, Formal does prefer playing slow. I mean,
we cannot say that Optic is great. The way they've been playing, we've seen them show major weaknesses.
Yeah.
In S&Ds, and even in respawns where it's we really thought they would come out with a little more just solidity, just more solid. But it seems like if you take one brick out at some point, it just starts crumbling off to the side. And okay, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, I mean, Optic's success in the past has always been that mental thing. It's been whenever they feel like they can easily win, they don't easily win. And whenever they feel like they need to turn up and this is the moment for a series, they win it. And generally that's how it's gone. And that's why I was a little bit surprised that Optic lost to Empire in that series, because usually Optic clutches that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Especially
in a
situation like
weaknesses.
that. I agree.
And Optic, I think, was had the intensity against Empire, but Optic is not playing tier 1 great. They have their bad map, they have their bad things that are happening, and it's a team issue that needs to be worked out.
Right now, there's one team that it's just bounds and leaps ahead of everyone. It's FaZe. It's undoubtable.
FaZe is undoubtedly
they are currently
way
undefeated.
up there.
They're undefeated. And in the tournament, they went 9 straight map wins until they lost map 4 to Empire in the grand finals.
Yeah.
And then they end up going 11-2 map count on the event. That's insane. That's insane. And to be able to
FaZe
do
is
that,
crazy.
to be able to do that in S&D control hard point all the way through against by no means an easy schedule.
Yeah.
Was very impressive. And I mean, just about as dominant as you can get, not to mention stringing that together with being undefeated throughout the whole stage. They didn't lose in the groups.
Yeah. Not to mention too, they were undefeated with RCDs not even performing on the Super Week, really.
Right.
You know?
We saw better RCs here, and
Exactly.
and they didn't drop a map for 9 straight
I
maps.
was like, RCs can do more than that.
And then he started playing well, and they won 9 straight maps, 11 out of 13. So FaZe right now is very scary. I'm sure teams will go back to the drawing board and try to figure out what's going on with S&D and how that plays for them. But overall, I mean, that's basically it. Real quick, let's have a little conversation about players. I mean, is in your head, I want to hear what you guys have to say about Simp, Awakening, Dashy, Huke, and Abezy. Those 5, where are your thoughts on those? And I'd actually be very interested to hear if you would like to order them.
Man.
Is Simp, let's start at the top. Let's start straight at the top. Who's the best player in the COD right now?
I want to say Huke.
That's a hot take.
Yeah.
Over Simp? Over Abezy?
I think I do.
I don't think that's a hot take.
That's a pretty hot take.
I don't know.
Simp, I was looking at stats. I mean, his stats are insane. Insane. I don't know. Rex, what do you have to say?
It's also hard to say because, like, how much, like, Huke may look like the best player, but it might be because he has to be that great and that much of a show because the rest of the team is not quite with him, you know?
Empire is
Maybe
interesting.
That's why, whereas, like, if we look at FaZe, it's like Simp is doing amazing, but doesn't quite show as much because everybody else on his team is also doing amazing. So it doesn't quite as, like, come off right.
Yeah. Let's talk. Can we talk actually real quick? Can we talk Empire for just a second and kind of those roles there? It's interesting, especially not even just Respawn, but in S&D, how like Huke has become so dominant. And like S&D is a little bit different because the roles are so much different in S&D, and like, you know, it's just really about how you play and that works. But you know, Abezy's Shotzi's kind of become the entry player, and they've switched in that way this year, which is very different for what it was before.
Weird.
Thoughts on Empire real quick before we talk about the rest of those 5 players?
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of it's Krim and Huke kind of leading the charge for this team. I did not see Shotzi falling into that role of more entry, and you know, still putting up some numbers, but man, it's weird seeing that Huke is like now like the dominant player for them, for sure. But I am very impressed with Krim though too. Like he's been playing great COD.
Definitely.
He's a fantastic main AR. I think it really shows like who he is as a player more than what it was last year too. Ilya was kind of hoping a little bit more from.
Yeah,
Ilya.
that's the thing.
Not sure what you think, Rex, about Ilya.
Yeah, the roles are definitely interesting. I mean, long term, there's still more upside with Dallas, right?
Yeah.
For sure. I think Shotzi has a lot to work on and get better in, especially in S&Ds. Empire's S&D is like mentally there, but like the way they're doing it just seems off. And like Shotzi still seems like he's not quite up to like mental preparedness as everybody else.
So far it feels like Shotzi's very willing to just throw his body at the opposition and let Huke and Illy clean it up. Like
exactly, which has worked in Modern Warfare. You have 4v4, it's kind of a detriment.
That's interesting.
I think for best player, honestly, I'm going with Huke.
Wow.
If we're
I'm
like
going
Huke,
Shotzi for sure. I mean, Simp for sure.
If we're going like MVP, like most valuable player, Huke is an extremely valuable player for his team right now.
That's wild. That's
Empire's
crazy.
not Empire unless they have Huke.
Yeah, interesting. Who's 2 then? Then Simp's 2? Who's 3 for you? Abezy, Dashy.
I mean,
Awakening.
I put Simp at 2.
Awakening. I mean, honestly, I think of Huke and Awakening a lot. So I'd put Awakening at 2.
Over Simp?
I mean, Simp's honest. Like it's tough because like Awakening provides, I think, a lot more for his team, because Simp doesn't have the opportunity to provide that because his team is also performing really well.
I mean, in S&D, I would say Awakening's been the best S&D player so far.
Awakening
Simp currently has a 1.46 KD in S&D. He
Let's
averages
just look
8 kills per round and a first blood percentage of 54. That's pretty insane. I mean, Awakening has been unbelievable in S&D, but in Respawn, Simp has a top 2 KD in basically a top 4 KD in Hardpoint, and he has the best KD in S&D and the best KD in Control, and he averages the most damage per round in Hardpoint and Control. Like, that's pretty insane. And he has over 32% of the team's
But if you're
hardpoint time.
looking at just like the individual player, you're just watching them play, you look at Awakening and you're like, this guy is on a different playing field. Like, he is just different.
At points.
He is at point. I think a lot of the time it's like, this is crazy what he's pulling off and what he's doing in respawns and S&Ds. Just the way he's moving and the way he's thinking about the game is just kind of crazy.
Yeah, but I have so much more
Awakening
trust
too.
with Simp.
I'm riding the Wake train on this one.
Simp is my undoubted best player in the league right now.
Simp has had some pretty bad maps, but he's
Simp
still
is consistent.
Who
I mean,
hasn't?
he's consistent enough, but Simp has had his bad map.
Who hasn't, though? Awakening's had bad maps. I mean, everyone's had bad maps.
Exactly.
Simp is currently, like I said, stats-wise, he has by far the most insane stats I may have ever seen after like a month
That's
of
great,
COD.
but it's easy to have good stats when the rest of your team is helping you get those good stats. Like when the rest of your team's good, it's easy to have good stats.
Well, at the same time, but all of FaZe has good stats. They're all dominating. Like, that's the thing.
Exactly, because they're just a good team in general. The good teams are going to have good stats.
Yes, agreed.
You can't just look at stats the whole time.
I'm not. I'm just saying it as a supporting argument. But Simp, again, is by far the most valuable player in the CDL. It's not even close, without a doubt.
If I was going to a game,
I'll go Huke
Awakening
2, Abezy
scares
3,
me more than
Awakening,
Simp scares me.
Dashy 4, Awakening 5.
I put Simp 2.
Real quick, list them off.
Huke, Simp, Awakening, Abezy, Dashy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Want me to do mine?
Real quick, yeah.
Huke, Awakening, Abezy, Simp, Dashy.
Oh, my word. Okay. Let's see how dumb people are today. Rex is leading the way.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
And I said this a while ago, people are undervaluing Abezy, even though he's in this conversation. They keep acting like Simp is just always just better than him, but Abezy is really, really good.
All I heard was
And I
Simp
think he's
number
better
1.
than Simp sometimes.
I mean, I can respect it. All right. Intelligent or irrelevant?
Here we go. Ready?
What was the question today?
What are your thoughts on the XM4 GA? Love it. Hate it. Necessary, but dumb. Couldn't care less.
Ooh, and now we had to guess what people are saying.
Yeah. And
I mean, people are probably saying necessary but dumb. I would imagine that's what people are saying.
I'm guessing they're saying
Hate it? Love it, hate
love
it, necessary.
For some reason, I think they're saying love it because people kind of bandwagon stuff.
Want to know what it is?
Did you already, you guess yourself? No,
Yeah.
you already saw it.
40%. Overwhelming majority necessary, but dumb.
Let's go.
Next
nice.
is hate it.
Nice.
And then tied for last is love it. And I couldn't care less.
What's the percentages of that?
18% for both of those.
Oh, okay.
24% for hate it.
Oh,
40% for necessary, but dumb.
Okay. I'll give people the intelligent stamp this
That was
time around.
intelligent, I think,
Yeah. I mean, it's necessary but obnoxious.
but obnoxious.
I understand it. You know, anyway, that's treading the whole other
Yeah.
thing. Did anyone have any comments? Did anyone have like a spicy
I don't
comment?
even know what necessary but dumb even means. It's necessary, but it's dumb.
Well,
Then why are we doing it if it's so dumb?
just the whole GA thing is just dumb.
Yeah, it's just GAs as a whole.
But
It's
why
just-
is it necessary if it's dumb? If it's necessary, it's probably smart. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I don't like
yeah,
how
I
that
get what you're
was-
saying. Like at this point, like, well, it's kind of like from the pros' perspective, it's necessary, but from our perspective, it's dumb.
Well, obviously.
There was one
that's-
reply that
that's
says,
exactly
"Do you
what the
think-"
situation is?
Here's the reply. Do you think a fix for GAs could be either limiting attachments like BO2 or make a band protect system like BO3? Basically, he's asking if
I mean, pick 10 would help solve a
BO3.
lot of problems.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it wouldn't. I mean, band protect got so lame because it was the same band protect every single time in the past. It was basically just giving the pros the option to GA.
Yeah.
And then the teams would break GAs when they wanted to, like 100T versus Optic that one time. But
Yeah.
anyway, I don't know. That's interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah.
All right, what are you guys watching this week? Rex, what are you watching this week?
I mean, I've just started the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry interview. Haven't
Oh,
finished it.
really?
I'm gonna watch that.
Very
I
fun.
don't know. I think it'll be
Nice.
interesting.
Wow. Sam?
I don't have anything planned. I haven't watched anything in a while.
Okay.
And that's kind of weird, but
I'm watching UFC. I mean, we just
Yeah.
watched the Israel Adesanya fight. That was crazy. He lost. That was tough. His first loss of his career.
Spoilers.
Things you hate to see. I know.
Dum,
Guys,
dum.
this was a long episode. I don't know why we lost track of time. I should have pushed our buttons a little bit faster here, but wow. Hope you guys enjoyed this long marathon of a conversation. If you guys did, drop all your comments down below. Drop a review on Apple Podcasts. Drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Do it.
And like, comment, subscribe. Share the video if you guys really enjoyed it. But as always, guys, I'm your host, Josh Elite. To my right is Bash_Bo3. And to our farthest right, per usual, is Rex Shady Nero. And guys, we will see you next time. We out.